How we doing, guys? Welcome back to Flipping Motors UK. Today you find me in what is possibly one of the nicest cars I've bought yet, if not the nicest, and it's extremely good quality. I'm going to show you around it, see what your thoughts are, let me know in the comments. I think I've got a good buy here. I gave good money for it, so there's not a massive amount of profit for or return on investment, but I think it needs very little, and it's very nicely presented. Let me show you around. So it is an Audi A3. It's the 1.6 turbo diesel. The SE models are quite a basic one, and it is the newer generation. So it came out on I think it was a 63 plate, the earliest cars actually, and ran all the way up to 2020, I want to say. And so this is obviously an early car, and as we've seen with the Q3, in my area I've noticed cars like this absolutely fly out. It looks very similar to I mean, you could buy one of these still for 15 grand quite comfortably. If you can get this one for 4 or 5, then it looks really cheap. You've got a lot of flash for your cash. But does that necessarily mean it's a bad car? Well, I'd say no, because I've just drove it back from Newcastle, done 45 miles in it, and it drives absolutely superb. I can't really fault it. The only thing I've noticed, very minor, is I don't know if it's a fault or not. I don't even know if it's worth doing. I can't really feel it through the pedal, but I mean, obviously I used to be a mechanic. I don't know, I've just got a bit of a feeling that the front discs might be on the way out. They don't look too bad, not too scored or anything. Maybe if you touch the inner edge, that would tell you otherwise. I can't really reach around, or to be fair, I'll have to get it jacked up, have a little look. I might just shot a set of discs and pads on it for what it would cost, just a bit of preventative maintenance to make sure in the next 6 months it's not going to start giving the new owner any hassle. As you can imagine, bodywork's all absolutely lovely. Apart from this little splash here where it's drove through a puddle on the BTA site, the car's actually very well presented, especially with it being a black car. I will be giving it a good polish, as it always does make a world of difference. But it's very straight. There's not a single dent, no imperfections on the side there. The alloys are in good condition, very minor corrosion on there, but I mean, come on. The rear discs and pads have very recently been replaced. It's got a Pirelli tyre on the back there, which is always a good sign as well, so it has been looked after. One thing I can't believe is, if you look at the condition of the rear seats, I don't think these have been sat on. It's not the nicest pattern in my opinion, but in really nice condition now. Look at that. You often get these all end up getting all kicked and that when there's been kids in the back. They're in lovely condition. Door cards, I haven't even cleaned these. You always find there's a bit of grub around there, but they're just in lovely condition. A couple of little fingerprints, but yeah, we'll just give it a good polish and that'll be absolutely fine. Is that a little mark? I mean, that'll polish out, to be fair, so I'm not too worried. I think that was actually highlighted on a report. North East Audi, I think that's Lookers now, isn't it? But that's where the car was sold. It's only been sold once, this car. It's a one owner car from new. That's fantastic, by the way, for a 63 plate A3. These are normally passed around like I don't know what, but one owner from new, great sign. Plenty of history with it as well. So as long as these jacks and all that and warning triangles in there. They do scrimp out, you find on these lower model Audis as well. I'll show you that inside. Boots in nice condition. It's got a space saver that must have been used at some point, so it does need placing incorrectly, which I will do. Be very difficult with one hand though, because I'm currently holding my phone. I can't wait to see it all clean. Like, these little fingerprints, that's the only things that in fault really. Is of course the 1.6 turbo diesel. Not the best diesel engine that we ever did, but not too bad if we're being looked after generally. Certainly no faults with this one. Again, Pirelli tyres on the back, and they do have about 5mm on them as well. Again, very minor corrosion on the alloy wheels, but I'm not too worried about that. can see it's had these new pads and discs on it. I think it was in August, so not too long ago. I've had a good play about. There's nothing really I can find that doesn't work with it, to be honest. Very nicely presented. It did come with a set of genuine Audi carpet mats as well. They've obviously been in from new, and as you can see, they've had very little wear. In fact, I can't even put any air vents in the back. That's just greedy, that, isn't it? Have a seat in the driver's side now. I remember I put the keys anyway. No, that's a Ford. There we go, 2 Audi keys. One of them does need a battery. This one here. But I've got a few key batteries I keep in stock. I mean, just look at this. You jump in the car, there's always a couple of marks around there. This bit where you rest your arm, that always ends up dirty. It's as new. This car has been super well looked after. That's the mat that's been in this car for 117,000 miles. Either Audi are making super great quality, or this car's been very, very well looked after, if not both. So you do get automatic lights. It's not the S-Line or anything, so you just get a pretty standard steering wheel. Unlike most of the 1.6 TDIs, the Audis do get a 6-speed gearbox, which is a bit better for motorway. And of course, it's capable of over 60 miles per gallon. On top of that, it's also the free tax model, which will be a super selling point. This is the later 1.6 TDI. Again, I don't think I had quite as many issues as the early cars. That runs really well, apart from only having 25 miles of fuel. Steering, no knocks. Brakes are all good. Like I mentioned, I might just put a set of discs and pads on it, because I think in a year's time it will need them, but maybe I'm being picky, I don't know. So we've got all the buttons on there for the multifunction display. We've just ticked over 117,000. I don't know if you can hear that, that's a lovely sounding engine. Plenty of service history to go in with it. It does all have the owner's details on, so I'm not going to go through that, but there's evidence of tyres, brakes and all sorts in there, as well as suspension arms and more. These always brakes. If you are looking at an A3 of this shape, make sure the screen folds in and out with this button. There's a mechanism in there. I've never actually done one myself, but I know they're an absolute pain and very, very common to go. Got all your traction control and everything here. It's got your climate control settings. Everything's got a really nice dampened feel to it. It's high quality, you could say. All the interiors got soft wrapped plastics on it. It's just a really, really nice finish. Okay, but you've obviously got Bluetooth. I've had my phone connected on there. You want to listen to my music, trust me. There is no nav though, so it's got the button for nav, but it doesn't have it, and that's because the SE is just a very, very basic model. You don't even get cruise control, same as a Q3, which again is a bit greedy, because bearing in mind this car came out in 13, same as a Mark 7 Golf. If you get one up from basic on the Mark 7 Golf, you get adaptive cruise control. Audi have been a bit stingy there, haven't they? Let's face it. Radio, you won't listen to that, absolute country. But yeah, the interior is virtually unmarked. I don't think I'll even have to take a cloth to this. Probably hoover out around here and a quick hoover over on the mat. And this car, I mean, I'll always put a bit of vinyl on it or something, but yeah, there's nothing not to like in this car. We'll have a little look under the bonnet shortly as well. You've got your cigarette lighter in there, which I think it's fair to say has not been used. The car smells good. It's certainly not been smoked in or anything. Gear knob, everything's all in nice condition. The steering wheel, you often find in cars like this, although they're very clean, the steering wheel isn't. The indicators aren't, as you know, if you start looking very closely. But this one is just, I mean, this car's been looked after, hasn't it? It really, really has. It's got a nice interior. The bodywork, BCA graded as grade 2. I think you're probably about right on there, because I know they have less strict rules on alloy wheels after the cars are over 10 years old, which this one is only just. Armrest. Well, that needs a bit of a clean, actually. They've missed that, haven't they? Oh well. Parking brake, that's something to watch. Electronic parking brake motors do go, but this one's absolutely fine. Let's have a little look under the bonnet now, I think. not as much to see. As I did mention, really nice healthy sounding 1.6 TDI there. They always clean up very well, these, but I don't really like cleaning them because I always feel you get like hiding something from the customer. I don't want the customer to get that impression because I'm not, and if there was any oil leaks above normal for the age and mileage, I would obviously get them sorted. You're also going to have a little bit weeping out on an older car, but this one seems very dry actually. I'll switch it off so you can see better. But yeah, all the coolant's good. Checked all the levels on that. The oil's good, there's no cream in the filler cap or nothing like that, which is good. There's plenty in there as well, that's a good sign. I think on the report it was all green, and to be fair, yeah, they're probably right. It's a really, really nice car, this. So what did I pay for the A3? Well, I gave, after, I think it was 2,800, 2,900. After fees, it was just over £3,200. And I reckon I can get £4 for this car. I think it'll be a very quick, easy sale at £4. Like I say, I'm not bought like some of these people will literally flip the car, won't do anything to it. If we shot a set of discs and pads on it, I'll just do that myself. It might cost, say, £80 at the worst. And I'll get them fitted. There's got to be a bit of profit in this. I think it should be a very easy sale at £4. It's got a lot going for it. It's only a one owner car. It's got 2 keys. It's got plenty of service history, loads of MOT and service as well. It's a very, very honest car, same as the Q3. I don't think you'll find a more honest car. It's been very well looked after, which is good, because a lot of these at this age have not, and you are getting problems with them. But yeah, £4, there's got to be about 700 quid profit in it for me, I think. But yeah, like I say, I'm not bothered about making thousands on every car. If I can do like 500, 600, 700 quid per car, you know, this time next year we'll be millionaires, won't we? Well, maybe not, but we're certainly going in the right direction. And I was talking to one of the Uber drivers when I got to Newcastle. I was saying I'm not bothered about, you know, making thousands per car, as long as I can make enough for any warranty issues and so on. And you know, as long as I make my little bit on the cars, I think it's all about retention. Customers will come back, they've got a cheap car, they'll recommend their friends, they'll give me a good review, which I've been pushing a little bit more recently. And on top of that, I might try and sell it back to me in the future, and guess what? I know I'll be buying a decent car if I've looked after it, because I prepped it. And as with all my cars, they are hand-picked as well. I know a lot of people that'll try and keep a foot in the door in a garage. Nah, I'll hand-pick my own stuff, thanks. I know why people do it, but I'd rather hand-pick all my cars. I can say I picked this car out of thousands that went through the auction that day, and I chose this one because it was in lovely condition. It was one owner, and I can assure you it's going to be one of the best for sale. It's a shame the same can't be said for the little Focus I picked up before the Audi. But I mean, I say that, there's not really many issues, but the issues are quite severe, you could say. So it's quite a presentable car, nice black Focus. There's a couple of dents, one on that door, one on the other side. Wheels have just been refurbished, a sign that someone has actually enjoyed this car, liked it. And for a Focus of this shape, there's very minimal rust as well, which is good. Got a little bit starting around there, but I think people have realised if you're buying a Focus this shape, they always fly out, but there will be a little bit of rust coming through. But why won't you get a good 2 or 3 years out of the car? This particular one, it is a very, very late model, as the new Focus was out on 11 plate. And it's a sport trim. Inside, it's in pretty good condition. I think it's had kids in the back. This particular one's done 129,000 miles. The engine runs absolutely beautiful, but the gearbox is extremely noisy. Obviously not something that was checked on the auction checks. They only check the static clutch operation, and does it go into gear? It goes in lovely, it drives lovely, but the gearbox is noisy, so it's going to have to be whipped out. Clutch is probably near the end of its life in the start, so I'll probably get a clutch in it as well. But these 1.6 petrols, the engines are absolutely bulletproof. It's got a little Android screen in it as well, which I'll show you briefly. It's not actually a bad setup. Most of these, they shout stuff at you in Chinese and whatever else, don't they? Very, very hard to press the little buttons, but it seems a really good system. You've got all your radio on there and whatever it's doing. fireworks or something there, but it actually works pretty well. And well, I'll be honest, I've seen it on the pictures, I thought it was like a standard fit sat nav or something. It fits really, really well, so quite pleased with that. I think that's a good selling point, so people can get phone via Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Automatic lights, it's a nice feature. Obviously it's got the nice alloy wheels which have been refurbished. I'll show you a little bit more of the car. Checked all the levels, all of them are good. So what am I going to have to do with this one? There you go, rear parking sensors as well. I want a fresh set of plates. If you see that, that's a good sign, because that looks, there's no screws in there. The plates have just been whizzed on, haven't they? So I think it's been on a private plate. Someone has put a private plate on and done this to the alloy wheels. I think this person's really liked this car. I've obviously sold it for a reason, which is a gearbox, but I'm going to sort that. It owes me just over 700 quid. I think it's worth about 1600, so I'll get a second-hand gearbox for it, get a new clutch for it. We'll get Jim to fit that. We'll add that to his list of jobs. Fresh set of plates. To be fair, I want to put a gear knob on it. I don't normally do stuff like that, but you can probably get one for less than a tenner, and it is just looking a little bit worn if you look here. And that's the first thing you'll see as you walk in the car. So again, yes, it's an 11 plate, but when it catches your eye like that, I don't know, for the sake of 8 quid or whatever a gear knob is, I'm going to do it. The back seats do need a good scrub. There's obviously been some children in here. They are a nice black cloth material though. I do like you get a good size boot in this shit. That's a bit stiff. Get a bit of WD-40 on it. You do get a good size boot on this Shape Force as well. Side with a horrible rubber mat, or plastic, whatever you want to call them. But you do have a space saver under there as well. It also needs an MOT. It seems to be driving very, very well. I think there may be a very slight knock from the front. So as well, obviously we're going to get the clutch, second-hand gearbox, MOT, and potentially some drop links or whatever. I didn't notice it till I went into the yard where JBM, isn't it? If you've been there before, it is very, very potholy, and I did notice that. We've also got a couple of dents to sort out. We'll get that pulled out by our local dent man at Just Dents, and then touch in the rest. It's a 14-year-old car. It's not going to be perfect, is it? But I think it's a nice car for a family for 1600 quid. I'm sure we'll get plenty of years out of it yet. A great engine, these 1.6s. Pretty bulletproof, really. And then we've got this little Mini. This one obviously was the one from Wilson's I did mention. I don't know if there's potential coolant, well there is coolant loss issues. There looks to be a bit of cream under the oil filler cap, and there also seems to be an issue sometimes going into third gear. So I don't know what to do with this one. I don't really want to get my hands too stuck in it. We might just put it back through the auction where it came from. If we take a small loss, at least it's not sat around for ages and stressing me out. I want a nice fresh start for new year. And we'll get this one out of the way. I'll probably give it a good clean up first, make sure it stands out as a nice looking car. But yeah, it's going to have to go back to the auction where I bought it from. And I'm sure someone will make a car out of it, but unfortunately I don't have the time to be ripping the gearboxes out and so on at the moment. And of course we have the Megane. I'm still waiting on the V5 for that, but shouldn't be too long, so that will be coming very shortly. Like I've said, if someone wants to give me £2,000 for it, yeah, it's just out of MOT. But it's got the bucket seats, which are worth, I've been told, 700-800 quid. Proper Recaros, R26, and a 77,000 mile engine as well. Yeah, it needs a little bit of TLC, but I'm not going to be greedy on that. I just want my money back. If I get a little drink on it, brilliant. My BM's still sat there. I'm going to sort a battery for that and then try and get the ABS fault sorted, and then it's MOT worthy, or do I just sell it as it is? It's just sat there in the way. It's a shame, really. But it's a lovely colour. I know they are appreciating in value, but it is honestly so in the way. I've got some news to share with you. I'll probably wait until next year though now, which will mean this thing is getting moved. But I'll give you that near the time. And then we've got the little 107. That's a nice, tidy little car. Nice and presentable. It's had the work done that was required. And it's a lovely metallic grey colour as well. I've had a few people messaging on it. One just wants a bit of time to think things over. He asked quite a lot of questions. Seemed to be a bit of a whiz with the 107s. But he obviously wasn't aware that I am as well. So I had an answer for all of his questions and a bit more. Someone's offered us like 1,250 quid, which I fairly politely turned down. Unfortunately, there's not really any money in this car after I got shot in the foot a little bit. But there we go. It's all sorted now and ready to go. It's very, very clean inside. There you go. It'll be a nice little first car for someone. So 1,500 quid if anyone's after one of these. It's only done 86,000 miles and it comes with a full MOT. There we go, back in the BMW office for now. What do you think? I've had some good buys. Have I made a bit of a hash of it? I mean, the Focus. Yeah, buying cars from auctions, you do get cars like that, and you can point your finger at BCA all day, but realistically, that's not part of their checks. So all the cars there, there's generally a reason, whether someone has just got bored and traded it in, they know there's a fault starting with it, or it's going to need some work and they're going to try and quickly get out of the car. So someone's obviously traded that Focus into Evans Elshaw, rightly so. I'd probably do the same if I wasn't in the motor trade, and off it goes. It's been looked after, but it's going to need that gearbox and clutch sorting. So my job's for the rest of the day. I want to try and find a second-hand gearbox, order a clutch for it, and probably get some discs and pads ordered for the Audi as well. It's got to be right that it's one of the nice. I genuinely think that's probably one of the nicest cars I've bought yet. Really, really nice. Grade 2, one owner from new, and it's free tax. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this short video. Am I getting a bit repetitive? Do you want to see something else? I would advise that if you do, you want to hit that subscribe button, because I've already said 10,000 subscribers. I know it's a bit away, and I'll drive to the Nürburgring in a car that my earnings from YouTube have covered the cost of. That's going to be fun, isn't it? For me and you as well, when I break down, more than likely on the way. But yeah, thanks again all for watching. Get at me in the comments if you have any questions, queries, or you can alternatively message my page, which is LCCS Trade Cars Darlington on Facebook and Instagram. You're probably better catching us on Facebook as I get more notifications. But yeah, thanks again. Take care now. Bye-bye.